Why is it that negativity has such a big pull within comics? And is this true for just comics or is this movies? Is this just everything? Negativity is a weird topic. It's one that it's easy to fall into. It's easy to kind of get hooked on, and it's much more compelling and draws people than positivity does. And why is that? Hey everybody, this is Perch. I've noticed something. I mean, I've done this topic on thinking critical with Wes before. I've done it other places, but I think there's a deeper discussion to be had here. And maybe I won't nail it in this video. Chances are I won't. But I'm hoping I get just enough of the bits that we can have another conversation about it, or I can kind of flesh out. Because I'm not. This isn't a video about why is YouTube too negative, or why can't people just be happier. No, I want to actually talk more about how things get into this state, and why is it so addictive, and why is it that in theory comic books come out, you're not forced to read them, they're actually quite expensive in a lot of cases, so you have to almost work to get them, and yet there is kind of an abundance of roasting and negativity and irritation at comics about what people do, about what people say, about how things are drawn, about this panel, that panel, and it just gets overwhelming to the point that I feel like people lose critical objectivity about even what they're looking at. I mean, case in point, I did a hey, who did it better? As kind of a joke. I thought it was funny with a Kitty Pride. Professor X is a jerk, and you remember that panel? She's in kind of a winter clothes, and she's turning and pointing at the camera. And then Lock and Key did a homage to that panel. They had the character. God, I can't remember the character's name now. Is she dating Tyler for a period of time, or wasn't really dating Tyler? Anyway, she's turning to the camera and she's like gives a much more kind of long foul mouthed rant about the teacher, but it's a complete homage to the original Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Kitty Pride moment, and it's kind of cool. I mean, I remember seeing that. And I'm like, this is fun. It's also in a period of the comic where they were kind of just showing how through the days crazy stuff is happening with the keys. So it's kind of this montage of events. So it fit the comic. What I was surprised by was how many people just trashed on the Lock and Key one. Oh, this is tracing. Oh, this is a ripoff. They're scamming. Oh, there's too many words. And they were super, super negative about it, missing the point that was the joke. The whole, was it the McBain Simpsons thing? That was the joke. It was that was the whole point of the image. But people were immediately triggered into being super, super negative about it. If it had better audio and just trashed on comics all day, I would have 10 times the subscribers in a month. I mean, I'm caught. The stats do not lie. It's right there. It's why is that? Well, I mean, I think part of it's human nature. I think human nature is more predisposed to be want to be negative than positive. I think negative is seen as being intelligent and being cool and being aware. I think people look at positivity as oh, this person's deluded, or this person's kidding themselves, or this person's Pollyanna kind of behavior, or just positivity and saying, "Hey, I really like this." It's almost like you're dumber as a result. I think there's this kind of this built-in feeling that people who are positive are cheesy and dumb, and people who are negative are world wise and they're smart. And it's I can even go back. I remember a very very early San Diego Comic Con panel back when it was truly a Comic Con more than the other things. And I want to say Neil Gaiman, but that may be wrong. My memory may be wrong here. But there was a panel and they were talking about some of the Vertigo titles. And one of the statements that was made is, well, Vertigo is darker. It takes a more negative view on things, and it's more for grown-ups. People grow up, they get smarter, and this kind of title appeals to them. I'm paraphrasing, and I cannot remember the exact statement that was made. But and it, I think I remember I'm pretty sure Neil Gaiman was on that panel, but maybe not. I don't think that was Neil Gaiman who said that. But I mean, the statement was made, and there were heads nodding and other things. It was kind of like you know, when you grow up, you gravitate toward negative things, and I think there's definitely an element at play there with comics. The other thing I think in terms of negativity versus positivity is that if you're negative, you don't have to hit people right on to get agreement. You can kind of say something like, you know what, I think the X-Men books are garbage. And chances are, if you're hearing that statement, you can think back in your memory, and you can remember a couple bad X-Men comics, and so you can kind of get agreement, and you can get sucked into that argument. It's like, yeah, yeah, you remember this bad issue, I remember that bad issue. But if you take it the other way, you say, I think all X-Men comics are great. Well, then you're predisposed as a person to want to argue with that statement, because your mind does not go to, oh yeah, I really love Dark Phoenix Saga. Your mind goes to that all X-Men comics are great. And you're like, well, that's not true. I remember some X-Men comics that are not great, like these. And then immediately the conversation goes negative. It's just kind of, it's human nature. And I also think, I mean, facts first. There's the popular YouTubers, whether you're the diversity in comics, or Yellow Flash, or some of these, or comic artist pro secrets, or these other channels. They roast comics. They tend to look at outrage topics, and they look at the subscribers. I mean, if you were an up and coming YouTuber, or you were trying to kind of write blogs, or write articles, or do videos, or other things, you would do that. I mean, of course you would do that. You want to go where success is. I mean, people don't start out in life. It's like, okay, I nobody is inventing a new car, and they're going, I wonder what shape I should make this car. Let me get inspiration from, like, the Yugo, and and just some of the garbage cars at the time. No, they're going to go to the ones that are super popular, and they're going to emulate. And so, one thing feeds another. Um, I think that that people tell me, and I get this review, and it's almost a damning review, like, oh, you should listen to Comic Perch's videos. He's very positive. He's a positive guy. He looks positively. I think that's you're setting people up for disappointment if you're telling them this. I don't think that I'm necessarily positive guy. I think that what I am is, what I try to be anyway, is I try to be honest guy. I try and be, hey, let's take a topic, let's look at it from every side, and some sides are positive, some sides are negative. I find myself debunking things from time to time, like the videos about what overships are, and how contracts work, and other things. I find myself more in the mode of just, I want us to be dealing with facts. I want to be dealing with, more or less, what reality is. And sometimes that skews negative, sometimes it skews positive, and sometimes I'm completely wrong, and reality is something else altogether. I get criticism, a lot, of like, oh, he just he sucks off the industry. I always, I'm a visual guy, so I always try and picture that, like, oh, what am I trying to, am I on my knees in front of the New York Marble Building? How does that work exactly? The whole industry? Good Lord, I'd be at it forever. I mean, that would be a tiring job. I would be very tired. Anyway, I just, I think, I don't think this channel is necessarily positive or negative. I think it goes in streaks too. Something will irritate me, and then I'll do 5 or 6 videos, and they probably have a more negative tone, and then I like something and have more positive tone. I don't know. It's a funny, it's a funny place we're all in. I think the one thing that I will say that you lose with an abundance of negativity, whether it's comics, or whether it's anything, is you lose perspective. And I think that's the most dangerous thing for all of us, is when you start to lose perspective, then you start to lose facts, and you get emotional about certain topics, and it I think it hurts both your overall argument, and your ability to understand, your ability to analyze things. And I think if you find yourself just always with a knee jerk outrage reaction to things, no matter how entertaining you are on YouTube, and many of these people are very entertaining, and they make money. This is a business. This is not. some crazy hobby. Only a complete lunatic would do videos only an idiot would do a video like one a day and get 1,000 subscribers and not monetize. I mean, a complete moron would be that person. But if this is a business and negativity brings people in and it sells, but the constant outrage, it erodes your ability to look at things from all sides. You start just having a gut reaction to only look at it from a negative angle every time. That's your go-to. And when you find that you get there, it's very hard to escape, to the point that you don't escape. I think you wreck your brand, so to speak. Your brand being you. I don't know. What do you think? I think there's a time and a place. I think some negativity makes people laugh. I mean, there's a lot of people who started following the Diversity in Comics channel, and my theory anyway, he got very popular in large part because his roast and his negativity in the sense of kind of ripping on a comic was done in a humorous way, and that's what people tuned into. They were tuning into that oh, look how almost over the top some of these criticisms are, and how kind of he's making this comic funny. I think that's what brought people to the table. Other people say, oh, I think he got popular because he started a war with the comic industry, and people were interested in kind of how that fight would go. And I don't think so. I think certainly there were some that came for that party, but I would suggest the majority of his subscribers were there for kind of the humorous roast. I think there's plenty of evidence to suggest that if you just look at hit traffic too. But um, generally speaking, I think you got to be funny at least. If you're gonna do outrage, you got to at least bring some comedy there too, because just pure outrage, it does burn itself out, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. You tell me. Hey, what am I saying here? Oh, I'm saying, hey, if you have a thought, leave me a comment below. Would like to hear your thoughts on the matter. Lay it on me. Let's hear what you have to say. Like, subscribe, add up those subscribers so I can continue to not monetize, and follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and let me have some questions there. I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks for listening.